Welcome to Feminized. It's time for a show that turns the spotlight on the powerful women shaping cannabis culture. The cannabis industry is on fire and women are sparking it up. If you like the show, please subscribe. You can also subscribe to the Feminized podcast with Liz Grow on YouTube and Instagram. The future is feminized. I'm so excited to introduce you to Jae Graham-Anciso, the founder of MARYJAE Smoke Culture in Austin, Texas. We got to hear her speak recently at the University of Texas about what it's like to navigate the cannabis industry as a Hispanic female. I knew I had to share this conversation. Enjoy. Hey sis, you're now listening to the Feminized podcast.
Can you start off by just telling us kind of where you're from, what you do, and kind of start your initial interest?
Definitely. So I claim Texas, but originally we're from California. But we moved here in '89, so I definitely claim Texas. We went through the schooling system, jobs, all that stuff here, so I claim Texas. So yeah, Austin is where we've been for a long time, and I am Jae of MARYJAE here in Austin, Texas, and we are a women-owned, female of color-owned dispensary here in Austin, Texas. Like, I feel like the only one in Texas, so yes. And still here, mind you. Like that, it's a huge feat to still be here after COVID. So that's who I am, yeah.
Kind of getting into starting MARYJAE, I know you talked about how your father inspired you.
Definitely.
Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes, definitely. My angel, Mr. Larry Graham, man, he adopted Rob and I at birth, him and my mother, and gave us this amazing life. And as he started getting older, he got sick. He was diagnosed with cancer, prostate cancer, and cirrhosis of the liver. And so my life became his life. I became his full-time caregiver. And through that, I also had a full-time job working at the adult megaplex, which started my journey in the cannabis industry. So it all kind of aligned, but he was the one that also told me, go get the job at Megaplex, that'll be fun, right? As a joke, and I actually got the job, and here it's, started my career, so it's pretty funny, but he was always supportive and open, but towards the end of his stage of cancer, my brother and I said, can we share something with you? And he was like, sure, I'm dying anyways, and we had tried to share cannabis with him several times, but he wasn't ready, and so when he finally was, we rolled him his first joint, and we sat down with him, and we started smoking with him, and we showed him how to do it, and I feel like a few minutes later, he's like, I have a headache, I don't feel good. I said, we messed him up, right? And he was on several medications for his cancer and cirrhosis, so I didn't know what would happen with medication and cannabis. That wasn't my expertise, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a loving daughter, and I just wanted the best for him, so I said, let's lay you down. We laid him down, and Rob and I went and finished that joint, and 20 minutes later, we came back, and I remember he was just sleeping so sound, and I said, Dad, how are you feeling? Can we get a Sonic slush and some chili cheese dogs and some tacos? And I was like, oh my God, y'all, he wasn't eating. Like, he was frail, like falling every other day, going to the hospital. Like, this man was skinny. So for him to do that, we're like, yes. So we go get him food, and we come back, and we're like, hey, do we want to smoke again? Like, we smoke before we eat and after we eat. You don't have to, but sometimes we do. He's like, yeah. I was like, this time we're going to show you a bong. So we showed him how to load it and light it, and he fell in love with it. And so he got super stoned and ate all the food, and we watched the whole movie, and he laughed, and y'all, he started gaining weight. And that was what, he said, I'm sorry that you always got in trouble, and you promised to help people like me that are old. And I'm like, yeah, sure, Dad, I'll help people with weed. He's like, no, I'm serious. Like grandpas, older people, parents of your friends, like people like me. He's like, because people look at me. And my mother had passed 11 years before him from the same thing, cancer, breast cancer, and cirrhosis of the liver. So he said, why didn't she try it? I said, well, she wasn't open to it. It wasn't your era, right? And so for him to be open to it, and then for him to say, go and help the world, it was kind of like the blessing I needed to go help the world, right? And so he was the inspiration behind it. When he passed, he left me a house. And my partner, Francis, said, you should sell your house and go help people like him. I said, hell no. No. My dad said the American dream is to own a home, and they work their whole lives for it. And so I couldn't sell it. But then I sat on that about helping people like him, and I kept thinking about him. And what if there was people that like him that needed help? And so we decided to sell the house and everything in it. And that, that started our adventure for MARYJAE, and it goes deeper than that, like to the point where we sold the house. And the minute we sold the house, about 10 minutes of signing it, and I swear this is my dad, a car ran through the house. They were sitting at the real estate agent signing the papers. I get a call and they said, we need you to get to the house quickly. A car ran through your house. And y'all, we had taken loans upon loans to get this house up just to sell it, to be able to get the money to start the shop. And so all these personal loans, my boss, our friends, family. And so I thought my world was destroyed. When the car had ran through the house, the buyers backed out. And so I didn't know what I was gonna do. Literally thought I had it. Like, my life was over. I remember falling to my knees, and Francis finally gets there with my boss, and I'm just in tears. And they said, it's okay. And all I could think about was my dad and how I wasn't supposed to sell this house and just how I fucked up. And now I'm in this pickle, right? And so by some grace of something, one of these people that looked at the house at the very beginning said, why didn't the house go for sale? We saw it all the way up and it didn't sell. What happened? And so they told him a car ran through it, and they said, listen, interest rates are going up, and if you can get this house fixed before the 1st, we'll buy it and we'll offer you more just for everything you've been through. And we fucking did it. Insurance kicked in. We told them the story, and they said, listen, it's gonna take months, but for you guys, we're gonna make miracles happen, and we're gonna do it. And everybody knew my story. They knew what we were gonna do. They knew about my dad. And so everybody pulled together and they helped, and they got the house on the market. We sold it, and Francis and I quit our jobs and traveled for a year. We really wanted to get to know these people in this cannabis space and hear their stories, hear their passions, so I can come back and share with my community. So that's it. That is the story.
Was it always a dispensary? Right.
No. So when we came out, it was MARYJAE smoke culture. And I'm going to tell you something I think a lot of people don't know. It was going to be Mother Nature Smoke Shop. And I hated it. And we sat on it for a while. And one day we were at the house, and Frances's parents were there. And her father was talking to her mom, and Francis was talking to me at the same time. And he goes, I remember, he's like, Mary. And she's like, Jay. I was like, oh my God, does that sound weird? Like, oh my God. And I was like, MARYJAE. And they're like, what? And I'm like, MARYJAE, that's it. Your mama, me, are the two best women in your life? Like, yeah, that's it, MARYJAE. And so we fucking filed for MARYJAE, filed for, registered trademark, like that day. We went and did it all. And so, no, we started as a smoke shop, and we evolved into, we dropped the smoke culture and just became MARYJAE, which is, I truly believe, a dispensary. It's a cannabis lifestyle dispensary. I don't believe it's a smoke shop, and I don't believe it's quite a CBD dispensary. We're somewhere in between, and we kind of make our own lane, honestly. And I travel all over the world looking for something like this, and it's hard. And so when it was in our heads, we brought it to life, and doing so, y'all, it was hard. Nobody wanted us. We came with a full business plan, virtually, on paper. It was beautiful, right? And we'd go to these businesses and say, this is who we are, this is what we want to do. They said, we don't want a Planet K. We do not want Planet K. We had so many doors shut in our face. And so at that point, I was like, oh my God, we're not opening. Like, what are we doing? This was the biggest mistake of our lives. Why did I sell my house? Why did I quit my job? You had a good job. What the fuck? Right? And you know what? Our design team knew somebody that knew somebody, and they're like, hey, this space is coming up on Lamar. It's, super small, it's kind of boutique-y. I think it might fit your vibe. We might have to retweak the settings, but I think this is it. And y'all, he's a man of color, and one of his daughters is in the LGBTQ space, and he's just like, I'm ready for y'all to sell weed, let's do this. I'm like, well, we're not there yet, but thank you, and that we have your support, and it happened. So yeah, we started as a smoke shop. I went off on that one.
I was kind of interested in, I don't really have this down, but I kind of want to hear just kind of about the journeys.
Yeah.
About your journey traveling, kind of the people you come across and met.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. So we went mostly to legal states, honestly. Colorado. We went to Vegas. Went to a few places. California. My family is out there still, so we did go out there. And we went to farms. I wanted to figure out, what's the best practices? What's legal in Texas? Because at that time, y'all, when we were about to open, CBD wasn't legal, right? It wasn't legal at all. And so it was a chance. I wanted to bring in the best of the best. Literally, this is how it goes. There are smoke shop trade shows, and you can go there, and there are various brands, and that's kind of what you choose, and that's what you get to pick. That's not what I wanted. I wanted something different. And I went to those brands, mind you, and there's something for everyone, but it wasn't for me and for my community because there wasn't a story behind it. It was literally a white man behind it with money. And that's going to be the truth, right? And I needed to make sure that it was people that were like me, that were passionate, that wanted only great things for their community. And so it was fucking hard to find. So that's where we did travel. We went to trade shows. We went outside of the smoke shop realm into CBD trade shows and like hemp shows and things like that. And so just venturing there and finding people that aligned with us and had similar values. And that's where we started. And that's kind of the journey. But we meet these people. I'm like, hey, I want to come to your farm. Hell yeah, come on, let's do this. And so that's what we did. Exactly what we did.
And was it hard, like seeing a lot of like you said, like it was just a white man just behind the brand?
Yes. Yeah, it was very hard, and I think that's definitely some of the struggles that I've had. I know that's one of your questions, but there was a point, and I laugh at this because we were at a trade show, and it was a very well-known brand, a white company, and I was really excited because they had women's focused things, and that's really what I wanted. And I couldn't wait to go to the booth. And Frances was just like, oh, I don't know if it's for us. I was like, but they have women's stuff. And she's like, no, but okay, we'll just go through it. You can go get your pamphlets and ask questions and all that, right? So I go up there, y'all, nobody would fucking talk to me. And it was all white people. And I'm just like, and I see someone free. I'm like, we have a shop. Like, no one would talk to me. Fast forward 3 years later, they're on my fucking sheet trying to get into my shop. Oh my God, we align, you're perfect. We have you on your shelves. And you will never be on my shelves, ever. So, yeah, there's some struggles all the time.
So, this kind of question, I know you said you're not really like smoking or like not dispensary, right? But for someone that's kind of wanting to start a dispensary, well, how would you like? What advice would you give them? Kind of like the steps for that?
Definitely, do your research. That's the main thing. I think I started researching before I even knew I was going to open a shop. I literally had like a Pinterest board of like items that I love and I would love to see on the shelf and how I like the merchandise. Like I really went that far into it, not knowing that it was going to be my shop one day, and that's what I was setting myself up for. But really do all your research and then know what your values are and what's your mission. Why do you want to enter the space? Why do you want to change the world? What do you want to do with it? What's your mission? What's your purpose? Because I'm going to tell you, you're going to get lost along the way. And so you better remember that because that's what keeps you home and that's what keeps you focused. So this happens many times.
Can you kind of talk about, I guess, like obstacles you face both as Hispanic and as being a member of LGBTQ community? Definitely. So we definitely don't get treated like a lot of other shops. We all talk. And so when you have a vendor right out treat you different or give you different pricing, and then you find out from your friend that owns a shop, like, really, that's what you get charged? You don't get the special on this? It happens a lot. That definitely happens. And then, being the LGBTQ plus, there's not very many of us in this space. Literally, there's not. I've had people reach out in legal states or other states, and they're just like, we got to stick together. You know what I mean? I've had like organizations, Toketivity out of Portland, reach out to me, and they're like super huge and supportive for us. And we just all kind of stick together. And that's how I'm able to navigate and be able to find the strength to want to move on. Honestly, all the support, because being a woman of color and being who I am and how I look, it is extremely hard. And I know people probably see from the outside like, wow, y'all got an awesome shop. No, we almost closed down in COVID. And I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't have investors. I don't have white money. I don't have pharmaceutical money. I had the money that I had when I sold my house. And every dollar that we make goes back into it. Sometimes Frances gets paid, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes I'm the one that gets paid, sometimes I don't. And that's the way it goes. But we did that. We didn't pay ourselves all through COVID. And you think they gave us help? Not being in the space that we're in. And we lost all our employees and had to start all over again. And then our owner says, you got to shut your doors. So it's like, what? But you got to keep paying rent. And mind you, it's over $6,000 for that space, over. And so he said, I don't care what you do out the back, but you can't be out the front. So Frances is like, she's the brain, she's behind the scenes, and I'm the face, I'm the front. She's like, bitch, we got this. You're gonna deliver all over the place. I'm gonna go out back and we'll do phone orders. You're gonna take people a cart out here to cars and you're gonna show them a show. They're gonna have their own personal shows. And we did that for years until we were able to open our doors again. And so to have that point where we're almost closed, it's scary. So there's a lot of challenges. But you know what? People pull up for one paper or a lighter and they're like, I'm sorry, this is it. I was like, you could have gone to the convenience store and got that. And you came all the way over here and got that. It shows you something. Community is why we're here. Like, it's everything to me.
And did you have a hard time building a community?
No, honestly, I felt like we put the beaker out there and people came. Honestly, my good friend Legina, she used to run Oil Can Harry's, and she's amazing in the event space. And she's like, bitch, we gotta come with it hard. Like, I have this vision. I'm like, what are you thinking? She's like, music, food, fashion, like all of it intertwines with cannabis, and we're gonna do an event every month. I was like, what? Every month. I was like, where? She's like, here. We're gonna have a runway through the store, out towards Birds, all the way back. And I'm like, oh, I was like, it's me, you, and Francis, and you work smart, not hard, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Y'all, we did it for a whole fucking year, and we rotated those things. The very first event was art, and we had 5 artists, 5 different canvases. They were not able to see each other. They were different areas outside and in the store, and people were allowed to come shop, and every 30 minutes they would switch. And at the end, you came up with this beautiful art that everybody contributed to, and then those were auctioned off, and that money went to Out Youth. So it was awesome. Like, very, very cool. And that was the start of the community. And then it was a true fashion show. We had drag queens come through the whole, take over everything, and it was awesome. So yeah, it wasn't hard to build. I think we opened up the space, and then people came in and they felt that it was safe. And they started seeing people like them, and they're like, oh my God, here's my people. I'm like, yes, bitch, come on. I've been waiting for you guys. Like, we're looking and waiting. So to be able to have a home base for people to come find and feel safe, it's beautiful. Yeah.
So this is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Same question. What specific advice for a Hispanic person
Mm-hmm.
who's wanting to get into the cannabis industry, just in general, not necessarily dispensary?
Definitely. Number 1, do it. And number 2, follow your dreams. But I cannot stress that enough, you guys. Know your purpose. Every time I felt like we were gonna close the doors, my brother knows. He came over one morning before he worked with us full time. We're a true family business now. It's me, my brother, Francis, and her brother. He came in one day and I said, I'm closing the store. He's like, no, you're not. You're just stressed out. You need a break. It's fine, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, why did you do this? And he hugs me and he tells me, Dad, remember? And you're gonna help other people like Dad. I'm like, fuck, you're right. So that every time I get down, every time I feel like I'm not good enough, what am I doing? Why am I here? Look at them, they're doing better, because it happens all the time. I think back why I'm here. My dad, what he told me, help people like me. And then you know what happens? I open the shop and people come in, they're like, I'm bringing my mom here, she can't sleep. The fact that she was the one to come into my store, and she's over here looking at the jewelry, look at this, it's pretty, but what is this? And she's like, that's a blunt holder. You know what I mean? Because we have vases that are bongs, and people come and they're beautiful, and they don't know what it is, and so we have to explain to them. And so to be able to create that safe space for people who want to come in and enjoy, that is why I do it. So remember your why, and remember that, because you're going to go through a journey. I'm not saying don't do it, do it. Working for yourself is amazing. Amazing. It's a lot of cries, a lot of downs, but there's so many ups. And if you can just touch one person's life, and we've touched many, people come up to me and be like, literally, this one I'll never forget. We had a group of older women, Hispanic women, and they come in and they're like staring at me and Francis. It's like when we first opened, and they're just looking at everything. They're like, oh my God, you can tell they're not comfortable, but they're like, want to be? And so one of them comes up to me and she says, I didn't think I'd ever see a day where a woman that looked like me would have a shop like this with another woman that looks like us. Oh, you guys, we don't even like this stuff. Like, our kids get in trouble for it, But it's beautiful. And so then I tell them my story, because I tell everybody when they come in, and they're just like, oh, what can we get? You have lotion? Yes, and that's the start of it. But those little moments like that, that's what keeps me going, and it reminds me of my dad. So if you want to get into the industry or any industry, just know your why, because you will go through those. And remembering that and just staying focused on that and not worrying about everything else that's going on around you and what other people are doing, I'm still here. Yeah.
So you kind of already touched on your background, but Could you talk about it more? Like, did you go to school or anything? Or?
So you're gonna love this. I barely graduated high school. Honestly, you guys, I was in content mastery. I have a reading disability. I have ADHD. Yeah, like barely graduated. I actually got in trouble when I was younger, and my parents sent me to a private school in San Marcos, and I did that for 2 years. And I told them I learned about worse drugs in that school than I did the original school. And so I told my mom my senior year, I want to come back and graduate with my people, because I still lived in the town, right? But I would drive out of town to go to school. And so she said, okay. And I came back and they were like, where are we going to plug in Life of Christ? I was like, I don't know. Those are the classes I was taking, right? And so he's like, all right, we'll plug into history. My principal at the time was so amazing. And he plugged in all my classes into credits for me, and he graduated me. And so my parents were both school teachers also, and they wanted me to go on that adventure of college and figure out what I wanted to do, and I could never figure it out. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to cut hair. I wanted to be a massage therapist. I loved clothes. I wanted to be a designer, like all this stuff. And they're like, sure, whatever you want. You're going to have a shop, but whatever, you need to pick one, right? And so, yeah, I barely graduated high school, but then I fell into Megaplex and as a buyer, and that was for the adult industry. And we had a little case of smoke items, and the guy that was there got fired. And he said, hey, do you want to take it over? You're a really good buyer. I said, yeah, sure, what do I do? And they said, you just have to fill it up. Like, we're gonna send you to a show, you just fill it up and sell it, please, just sell it. So I went to my first trade show and I fell in love. I was like, oh my God, all these people are potheads? Like, oh my God, and they're business people? Like, what the hell? And mind you, there was just a diverse group of people, but like, to see everyone, I was just like, I love them all. And so that started my journey. That one case turned into 16 cases. That 16 cases turned into 16 stores. I bought for all of them. And at that point, that's why Francis was like, stop doing it for the white man and do it for yourself, honestly. Yeah. And he was a good white man. I love him to death. But it was true. It was time to do it for myself.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
So the second part to that question.
Yeah.
So now that you are doing it for yourself and stuff, what would you say is like the hardest part, I guess? You don't have like that like traditional background. So you're obviously doing well.
See, that's what it looks like from the outside, and I appreciate you. So there's a whole world of, I didn't go to business school. Yeah. I didn't know anything about it. I worked retail my whole life. That's what I did, and I loved helping people, whether it was with adult toys or clothes or hair products, whatever. I knew how to connect what they needed to, and so that's what I do, and that's my passion. And so, yeah, that's where it is. Like, I connect people to the products, and that's where it was with the Megaplex, and that really, really helped me. And to be able to get into that and just do that and be able to learn from there what I learned, I am so grateful, because I remember sitting with the owners and like trying to get as much information as I can, because I didn't know very much. So I gained what I could, and then opening the shop. Y'all, I didn't know what SEOs were. Like, I didn't know that it was behind the scenes stuff of like opening a website. There's so much. And then like, okay, you need a SOP playbook. So if you get sick, your store knows how to take over your shop and you're not there, right? There's all these little things that I knew, because I worked in retail, but I wasn't the owner or the boss, right? So slowly things come back to me, but I'm hiring the team that does it, because I tried doing it all myself for the first couple of years and I failed. Both of us. We'd Google all night. We'd be tired as fuck. We'd literally reach out and try to take classes and do all this. And we started a mentorship program, and they said, I'm gonna tell you the most smartest thing you can do. Delegate. Delegate. That's why these people do what they do. Delegate. You do what you do best, because you know what? You're getting drained doing everybody else's job. And that's what happened. I burnt out a couple of times trying to figure it out. And delegate. Get people. I even have a ghostwriter. I have a copywriter. I told you I barely graduated high school. I am not good with words. All day I can talk to you and tell you, and I can help you feel, but I can't do this. So I have a ghostwriter. We sit down and I talk my talk and she types it up professionally, but it's still me. And so find those people that align with you and really want you to help you succeed. So we have a whole team of women. They are women of color. And that's a great thing. You get to pick your own people and your own team. So yeah, find your people, your tribe, because you can't do it all on your own.
Is there a skill like you acquired on the way, like doing everything that you kind of enjoy? And you kind of like,
yeah, the merchandising part, like the setting up the product. Like I'm a shopper. I'm a shopaholic. Ask my brother. He's like, "Bitch, you need to quit spending money." I love to shop, right? And I'll stay up all night, like shopping and looking. And so when it became my job as a buyer to buy like unique things and fun things, you stop it. I'll stay up till 5 a.m. finding stuff and emailing people and getting samples in to try and see. And so, it's super fun.
What about you hate? No.
The laws, and that's the honest truth, because they go like this. The whole Delta 8 thing, y'all, it was like, you can have it, you can't, you can have it, you can't. And so at one point we fucking packed everything out and took it out, because who are they gonna make an example of, right? Because other people, my customers were coming in, they have it next door, why don't you have it? They have it at Planet K, why don't you have it? I'm like, well, their pockets are deep. They come from money, they know people, right? And they're not of color. And who do you think they're gonna come make an example of? One of the first shops that opened, because we opened in 2017 and sold CBD before it was legal. We had one little case, I'm so proud of it, right? And yeah.
And so what was y'all like thing that y'all were focused on selling at that time? What kind of laws were changing?
So that's a good question. I feel like we go with the flow of the customer. Like I told you, we started off with mostly smoke shop and one little case of CBD, and then CBD started to grow. People would come in and they'd see a little case, and some people that were about it were like, I want to know more because it was so new and happening. And some people were just like, oh my God, it's illegal, it's drugs, I'm not looking at it, right? And so to have that, and then fast forward 2 years later, people are coming in, my doctor says I need CBD for my arthritis, what do you have? And I could not get them to look at it 2 years prior, right when it was illegal when we were selling it. So see the time shift and move forward. It's beautiful, but it's also scary because the laws can change. And it's like we invested a lot of money into our own line during COVID because that's how we survived. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It was hard, so how do you survive? You come out with a product that people want, and you come out with the best product. And you have to have those margins to survive. I learned that. I was only selling everybody else's stuff, and we were surviving, but then COVID hit, and it was just like, oh, okay, what do we do? And it was just like, well, people, why don't you have Delta 8? Everybody was like, why don't you have it? Why don't you have it? Because I could not find someone that could explain it to me correctly, whether good or bad or whatever. I just needed to be explained to me. Went to many manufacturers, nobody could explain it. Finally, I found one of color in Colorado that's like, oh, this is how you do it. And look for this, this, and this. Look for this, don't have this. I'm like, how hard was that? They said, nobody wants you to steal their juice. I'm like, you can all have the same recipe, but it's all gonna be different. And so, that's how it really, really is. So to be able to finally bring out a product that we truly love and we're so passionate about and just super clean and just get you there. That's how we survived COVID. And then we just kind of expanded that line from there. But that's all our money going into it in hopes that it would work, and it has. And that's really what kept us going, is thinking smarter and getting those margins. So yeah, it's a little navigating.
Or just you can look here.
No, I wanted to ask about the time frame. Like you said, you started in 2017.
Yes.
But did it take you longer to know? Like how long did everything take?
That process?
Yeah.
So POPs passed in 2015. That was in October. And from there, we tried to stick with our jobs as much as we could. It was probably just a few months, and then that's when we said, hey, we've got to do our own thing. So it was almost like 1.5 years, 2 years, process. And that was a lot of yes, no's, maybes, is this going to happen? And a lot of people shooting us down, and a lot of people not believing in us. A lot of people at my job at Megaplex was like, you're the dumbest bitch I've ever known. Why? You're selling your house. This is going to be worth $1 million in 10 years. You don't even fucking know. Austin's going to boom. And yeah, it has, and it did. But you know what? I wouldn't be where I am today. And I wouldn't have had my foot in at the time I did to build that trust with the community and show them they have a safe space. Because after we opened, that next year, you started seeing a whole bunch of CBD shops pop up. And what I love about it is you started to see them, they started looking like us. They all came in. They all came in to get inspiration. I had people come in, Joe's Coffee, Whole Foods CEO, come in and ask me, can we sit down with you? I want to do something similar. How do I do it? I'm like, I'm just trying to figure it out myself. Okay, can we talk to the investors then? This is this. And they're like, yeah, but the person behind you. I'm like, it's Francis. And it's me, Francis, really. And so that really surprised a lot of people. And then at one point it got ridiculous. I think that first year people were coming in, they're just like, listen, we need your whole vendor list. Where did you get these, cabinets, custom things, and all this stuff? And I just got tired of it one day. I remember telling someone, I don't do consultations. Actually, it starts at 50,000. They said, where can I sign up? I was like, come on. I'm barely trying to figure it out myself. I'm not there to consultate anybody. I'm trying to figure it out. I just know in my heart what I want and what to do. And I am an empath and a caregiver. I'm a nurturer. That's what I was. I raised both my parents and my brother. I love to say that because they were alcoholics and they were both sick. And unfortunately, when we moved to Texas, it took a wrong turn and they got real ill. And so I had to let go of any future I had, and my future became their life. And I would do it all over again, right? Because look where I am now. And it taught me a lot of things, and I feel like it gave me a lot of skills. So yeah, I would do it all over again. But it's my true passion. I cannot like just tell people like, if it is your passion, go for it. Nothing can stop you. Do I ever think about another house or money? Just barely. We started the idea of the thought of another house. Here we are 6 years later. I was like, do we get a house? Like, because I'm staying with my brother in his house. And I love it. You know what I mean? We're close to family and I love it. And so, yeah, like, I don't ever think about the money. That's Francis's side and she stresses about it. But all I know in my heart, I'm just trying to do good and I want to help people like my dad, and I truly love you guys. Like, that is my place on earth. I believe, like, I was adopted at birth into this family. They got sick. I took care of them, and I think that's what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to take care of people and show them a safe space and show them cannabis in a safe, light way. You know, it's truly why I believe I'm here. Honestly, because you know, when you try to find like, what am I supposed to be doing? I was like, this, every bit of it through my being feels right. Like, this is truly what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's kind of my hard one now.
Yes.
What's your sign?
I'm Taurus.
Oh, okay, really? Also,
Yes. On the Aries cusp. So I'm born on Earth Day, 2 days after 420.
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
really say I'm an empath, I'm a nurturer. I was like, okay, let me start guess.
Yes.
But, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's just how I've always been. Like, I love to take care of people. I know what you need before you know it. I want to make you comfortable. I want to make you have the best time of your life. I want to make you laugh. I want to make your heart glow. Like, I just want to do all that stuff. I want people to know that they have someone. And you know, that's something also during COVID. I had a customer reach out to me, text, because I was using my phone, my personal phone, to text saying, hey, this is MARYJAE. I'm almost at your apartment. I'll be there in about 5 minutes, right? And so I guess they had kept my number, and someone had texted me and said, hey, is this MARYJAE? I said, this is Jay, what's going on? They said, hey, I'm having some problems. I said, what's going on? Is the product okay? They're like, my family, like I'm being abused, right? So I'm like, oh my God. So I looked up hotline. I was like, call these people. You are not alone. Please text and reach out to me anytime. We can talk, we can like video, whatever you want to do. You are not alone. So to be able to have them reach out to me like that, and they even said, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know this was your personal. I was like, I don't fucking care. The fact that you reached out, if I had someone, I went through a hard depression. I still go through a depression with my parents being alcoholics and then with my dad passing. So I know what the mental abuse can be like. So to be able to have someone trust in me and confide and text me and just ask for help, that's everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
So what other Hispanic-owned businesses in cannabis are you loving right now?
Oh, so I am definitely, so a lot of legal states I'm watching. So they are Black-owned, actually, Josephine and Billy's, who I've definitely been watching. A lot of product, I feel like, not necessarily dispensaries. I don't watch a lot of dispensaries, and that's the truth, because then you start to get in your head about what they're doing. And so I like to look at the products and the people. That's what I like to look at. But that dispensary sticks out to me so much. They're the first people of color like doing it huge in California, and they're the ones that were backed by Jay-Z. You guys, to see what they're doing for the community is like inspiring. So yeah, there's a bunch of them. But now that we're getting to travel, I can't wait to go meet a lot of these people, because we've been in talks with collabs with a lot of people that I can't say, but they're people of color as well, and I'm super excited to see what the future brings. So now that the world is coming back, we're able to do some R&D and really go out there and fuck some shit up. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. So like, if we're talking about the future without like saying anything you can't say though.
Yes.
Like, where do you see MARYJAE going? Or like 10 years from now, like what do you see for your
Multiple MARYJAEs. I think that was the path we were on before COVID hit. And then it really knocked us down. So we backtrack and we start all over again. And literally we were starting all over again. But I want one in San Antonio, y'all. Like I was thinking more outside of the state, but I think I want to stay in state and really be here for Texas and just kind of spread myself all over the place and just cover Texas with a big old hug. And then from there, who knows? Who knows? We've had a lot of opportunities, reach out, people that want to invest and collab and do small pop-up things. But honestly, Francis and I want to do everything we can on our own, as far as we can, because this is the honest truth. When Texas goes legal, because it will, when it finally does, you will need the investors, you will need that money. So we're trying to do everything we can to save and just do it all on our own. So, because that time will come, and at that time we'll have to relook at it and see where MARYJAE goes. But yeah, it's, we want to do it all on our own. Yeah.
And do you see it?
Oh, yeah, but you can go.
I was gonna say, like, do you imagine them like being similar, like stories, kind of like, or like do you see them doing like evolving?
That's a good question. I've envisioned a few different things. I've envisioned larger, and I've also envisioned smaller, like little pop-ins with like our best sellers and of course our brand, but like a small immersion of what MARYJAE is, I can experience. Because stuff's expensive. So, rent's expensive, places are expensive. But I've also seen something bigger because our space is small. And if we could have a space that also has an event space or, a space where we can really do some things, that would be fun. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking at, we've always played around the idea of like a MARYJAE, like cafe, like a consumption space. You know what I'm saying? You get your products and then across the street, you go to the consumption lounge and just hang out. So, yeah, there's a lot of ideas. Definitely.
So my question was like, so what are some ways you're giving back to the Hispanic community, and also like, how do you battle like the stigma within like Hispanic families? Because I know like I don't feel really comfortable talking to my family about
Hell yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So this, I want to tell you something that happened about a few months ago. I had a mama reach out off of Google, and she was like, "Hey, I saw your picture and what you look like, and I saw your shop, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. I just lost my husband, and we're a strong Hispanic family. We do not believe in cannabis at all. And my son just got caught in school with it. And I'm freaking out because I don't know how to talk to him. I don't know who to talk to. And I don't know where we're at. And I know he's just sad and depressed and lost because he just lost his best friend." And she's like, and this is this big long Google message. And she's like, I looked up cannabis and then you popped up. And I said, well, I read your story about your dad, so I thought maybe I'd reach out to you, right? And I said, oh my God, here's my number, text me. So she texted me, and I was like, listen, this is like, I'm so glad you reached out. I want you guys to come in, let's set an appointment. Like I want to talk with you both because I feel like I could be the in-between you guys. And she was just freaked out. And she's just like, I don't know, I'm not comfortable. Like I'm just kind of freaking out. So I got her calm enough. They came in. And I remember she did not want to walk through the door. She's just like, every being just not wanting to be a part of it. And her son's just like, what did she just bring me to? Because he didn't know that she was bringing him here. He just said, hey, we're going to go talk to somebody about what's going on in school and things like that. So he thought he was going to a counselor. So when they pulled up to the shop, he's just like, oh my God, like, am I in trouble? It's like, what is she doing? Like, oh my God. And so I walk up to him like, hey, how's it going? And they're just like, she's like, help. I said, why don't you go take a look around? I said, I'm gonna talk to him for a second. And so she goes and she's looking around and she's by the front door and he's just like, why am I here? And I was like, so Mom talked to me. She reached out. I don't know how much she's told you, if she's told you anything. I heard you've been in trouble with school with cannabis. And he's just like, yes, ma'am. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of freaking out. He's like, I didn't know that we were coming to meet you. And I was like, I love you for that. And he's like, I just miss my dad. And I said, I am you. I am you. I lost my dad too. And he is what inspired me to do this. And so I get you. And just know that you're not alone. You can reach out to me anytime. But I need you to be good for your mom because she's going through a lot more than you are. And she has to look out for you and your family, right? And your siblings, because he has siblings. And he's just like, yes, ma'am. I was like, and the more stress you cause her, it's going to be harder on her. And I think everybody's just trying to figure it out. And he's just like, yes, ma'am. He's like, but I really like it. He's like, it helps me like focus. I was like, so were you doing it for like, to get in trouble? Or were you doing it because he's like, honestly, I was just doing it because my friends are doing it. He's like, then I went back to class and I was like, so focused. He's like, I was doing really good. He's like, but I don't want to tell my mom that. Like, I can't, I'm just freaking out that we're here. I was like, all right. take a look around. I'm gonna talk to Mama real quick. So I go to the front and I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, I'm freaking out right now. Like, I was like, listen, he's cool. He's cool. We just had a talk. He's super sad. He's feeling the same way you are. And he's lost and he's depressed and he feels alone. But you know what's crazy? When he used the cannabis at school, it helped him focus. A little is what he told me. And I asked him, were you using it to be bad or were you using it? He said, I was just using it because I wanted to escape. But then I realized it like helped me at school because I went back to class and she's like, he can't be using weed and, you know, and going off. I was like, stop. You know, stop. There are things with parental guidance that they can use. That is just CBD. There's no THC. And I've had many parents come in here for their kids with ADHD or focus problems, right? Can't sleep, things like that. And so she's like, I can't believe we're even doing this. I said, do you mind going back over there with me with him so we can talk? And she just was like, all right, let's do it. So we went over there and they start arguing. And he's like, Mom, I think I would like, you know, a vape pen. And you can't smoke. And I said, Mom, how are we going to talk if you're yelling at him? I said, we all need to just be adults here because this is the space that we're in right now. And this is the truth. And she's just like, okay, I can't have you using drugs because your younger siblings are going to see you and see, oh, Mom lets him do drugs. And then all your friends are going to come over here and think this is a drug house. And you know that we have nothing to do with drugs. And I was, you sure don't, because cannabis isn't a drug, it's a medicine. And she's just like, oh. And I was like, you know what? And I'm going to tell you something. You a badass mama right now. I said, because for you to come out of your space where you don't believe in cannabis and do not like it, to reach out to me and then to even bring him here, that's fucking badass. You're a badass mom. Like, your mom's badass. And he's just like, yeah. And I was like, she is. She's open to helping you. And that was the cool thing about it. So we did pick out some products for them. And y'all, they come back every month. And he's doing so good. And she is so open. She's even like, what lotions do you have? And she's sharing it with her mom. And it's so cute. They're still, you know, but she comes in and gives me the biggest hugs. And I can totally feel her heart. And she said, you helped my family. You truly did. That's all I want. That's all I want. And for her, she said, you looked like me. And you had the story with your dad. And it was about my family. It's about my son. Like, you lost him. He lost, you know. And so it just seemed right. And I just felt like we found our family. I was like, you have found your family. And that's the thing. And he does reach out through Instagram. And like, whether it's a good day or a bad day, as they reach out, you have someone. You're not alone, you know. So that's how I'm helping my community. Like, I am truly here. I'll even go to your house. Like, I'll talk to people. Like, I just feel I'm easy to talk to. And like, I can just, you know, even in the sex industry, when I was with toys, customers would come in fighting. They're coming into an adult store to like have pleasure, right? And there was a moment where I had to separate them and like, let me talk to your husband, let me talk to your wife. What are you getting? What do you want? She's not doing this. She's not doing that. I said, I got you. Okay, so let me get you the stuff to help y'all do this. And so we'd go over there and I'd show them the toys. I'm like, well, what do you do? I would give them a scenario. What? I'm like, yeah, that's this, right? So no matter what it is, whether it was adult toys or cannabis or family, like, I am here just to connect the people and just to help them. And I am a part of everybody's family. Like, I truly, you guys, when you walk through my doors, I always tell people you're my family, but you really are. Because when you come in and like, we talk and I'll think about you later. And when you tell me a story, I'm like, oh my God, I hope it went well. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I truly think, or when you come back, I'm asking you again about your stuff. Or I even reach out on Instagram. How did your night go? How did the date go? Like, how did, you know, I just want friends. And I just want people like me that love cannabis and love and just love to share and good energy. And so that's how I believe I'm truly helping people, by opening that space that is safe, that they can see someone like them and know that it is safe. Because all the other shops, there's not a lot of people who look like us, you know? So got a lot of things going against us. Plus size, tattooed, shaved, you know, a color, gay, like you name it, we're everything. That's the other, but I love it. Because if you identify with it, and I love, this is what Frances always says, when we were gonna open our shop, she's like, we like Hot Topic, like when they first opened, and we're definitely older. And so when you walked in, you felt like you belonged. Like there was something like, oh my God, it's different. And that's the feeling we wanted at MARYJAE. When you walked in, you're like, what the fuck did I just walk into? But I belong, I love it. Oh my God, what is this? Like, I know someone that would love this. Or like, I've had people that come in that have had bad days or like lost their jobs, and they come in, they're like, I just need a hug and I just want to feel. I'm like, come, because you thought of me to come to the space to feel better. Like, fuck yes. Fuck yeah. Like, that's That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Just share this beautiful plant with people. So, yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jesus. I'm a student journalist here at UT, and I'm doing a story on the recent decriminalization of marijuana.
Yes.
And I was like just researching the subject, and I saw this event happening. And I would love to interview you because you're such like a wonderful person to talk about this stuff. Like, just
Thank you. I would love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would love to talk about that too. This one back here, my brother, he went to jail for it. Y'all, I tell his story a lot. He put himself through ITT Tech, got his best job ever. Mind you, put himself through it, like worked all that. Everybody in the office smoked. He got his first day, went a few days, and said, hey, we got to drug test you. What? You said you weren't going to. Drug test, pop dirty, you got to go. Now it's on his record. After all that schooling, after everything. So then he worked his way up from AT&T. I said, fuck that, leave them, come with me. You're gonna get it after I die anyways. Come on, come be a family business. So yeah, oh yeah, I would love to, definitely. Thank you. Sweet.
That's pretty much all the questions.
I love it. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for providing the space for me to share. So thank you. Yeah.
If you'd like more, subscribe to the Feminized podcast on YouTube. Follow at Feminized with Liz Grow on Instagram. Special thanks to our sponsors Moose Labs and Richard's Rainwater. The Feminized podcast is a Grow House media production, created by Liz Grow, produced by Patrick Pope and Dennis Ray, with original theme music and audio mixing by Q at Q to King Productions in New Braunfels, Texas.